finances pondering. Retirement account release. Via in-person Fidelity visit and mouse adoption. So I'm thinking of is a pondering. Finances pondering for myself. I'm Tanis, she, her, hers, of Seattle, and it's Wednesday, 29 July 2026 AD. And I'm thinking of, I've done a student loans release video, which is like paying off the student loans. And I was like, well, there's another kind of release, and that's where it, instead of like something being paid off, it starts to accumulate again. So I have retirement accounts, and I've gone through, you know, taking some of my income and putting it in the retirement accounts. As I was earning money, and I was like, for this one, retirement account release means I start depositing money into my accounts again, and so with that comes the, how do I take these and like release, not necessarily let go, but release, like, okay, this is kind of this what I'm working on now, or working with now. So I was like, I think the really big one is, do I know how to see how funds are deposited, say like online? Okay. Did I get it right? I've already on this channel covered actually going in person to Fidelity and asking questions about my retirement account. I've done that before, and I've covered that on this channel. So I was like, maybe go into Fidelity, be at that same location or somewhere else, and be like, I've started depositing funds in my accounts again, and this is kind of like what I'm doing online. Am I doing that right? Is that the correct avenue of checking? And then so getting kind of like a confirmation, and also they might have a different way or that kind of thing. And then also being like, now that I can do that, are there any other services that the institution, my retirement accounts are through, offer? So kind of becoming a little bit more familiar with the institution to which I'm depositing funds. And then I was like, okay. And then, you know, the amount of money changes with markets and stuff in my retirement accounts. I have found out through experience. So then perhaps something I could do is like, I'm thinking, and some people spend their lives living off of investments and following the markets and stuff like that. And I was like, how about an investment for myself of like something similar in nature of like, I want to keep depositing, especially since I've had the experience of, you know, depositing funds and then not having enough money to deposit funds to my retirement account. So there's been a, you know, multi-year, like as in over 5.00 consecutive years with no deposits made from income. And being like, I want to keep my deposits going. I was like, something that kind of requires attention and curation, and I want to see last a long time. I was like, how I could adopt a pet mouse, something not too expensive that, you know, depending on my life, especially if I'm living with somebody, you know, who I'm living with my Josh, say, and he has a pet mouse and I have a pet mouse, and you know, we're so possessive of each of our own. We each have a pet female mouse. You know, he has his in one cage, and I have mine in one cage, and they're living in the same residence, and they're like, you know, indoor squirrels and stuff. And we're like, how did this happen? There's indoor critters and two female mice, and they live in separate cages. You know, but actually, like, allowing myself that freedom and that responsibility to have a small little one of my own, and kind of having that confidence in being able to take care of my pet mouse, my little lady, and the retirement account deposits kind of helping build my confidence that the financial, there's boom and bust, so that, you know, financial down and out that I have gone through and keep going through, and I'm currently in for over 5.00 consecutive years now, like over 6.00 consecutive years now. All right, I'm not in that anymore. more. So there we go. That's some finances pondering from me.